Narcissists are highly skilled at manipulating others. When they have their eyes set on their new supply, they'll begin to use various sneaky and subtle tactics to appear charming, irresistible, and perfect at the beginning. But the narcissist also has a specific strategy of tactics they use to make sure you are going to be a good source of supply for their extremely toxic and manipulative ego. When you first meet a narcissist, you are unaware that you are under a process of being analyzed. Narcissists are like applications collecting data from you to learn everything about you. This process is a part of their manipulative behavior, specifically used to better control and manipulate you later on. In this video, I'll explain the process of how they chose you and why. Also, some of the things they'll put you through once they have secured the relationship. Let's dive into the details. First, they begin by playing the perfect partner. Narcissists pretend to be your perfect match, mirroring your likes, dislikes, and values based on everything they've learned about you. They'll mirror everything about you, from your hobbies, favorite foods, or your favorite songs, creating an illusion of the perfect relationship while hiding their true intentions. By pretending to be exactly what you want, they create an illusion of compatibility and trust. You may believe you've found someone who truly understands and loves you, but they're simply playing a role based on the information they've gathered about you. Analyzing your vulnerabilities. A narcissist will begin asking you a plethora of probing questions to learn about your past, particularly focusing on your insecurities, trauma, or emotional wounds. But notice how they'll hardly tell you anything about themselves. This analysis is to gather as much information as they can to later use it against you. Once the narcissist knows what your emotional triggers are, they can know just how to manipulate you more effectively throughout the relationship. For example, if you've experienced abandonment or rejection, they may use this fear to control your actions, especially during the love bombing and devaluation phase, keeping you on an emotional roller coaster. By learning your vulnerabilities, strengths, and desires, they can use all of the information they gathered about you to manipulate your emotions, making you more dependent on their emotional support and validation. Analyzing your strengths and weaknesses. Narcissists will observe and ask about your personality, strengths, values, and weaknesses. They analyze how you handle situations, your emotional responses, and what makes you feel valued. Knowing your strengths helps them mirror you to make you feel like they're similar to you, and understanding your weaknesses helps them exploit those areas when they feel the need to break down your defenses. Narcissists are great at using your insecurities and emotional wounds to keep you off balance, making you feel like you need their approval or affection to feel worthy. People pleasers, empaths, and broken people are their optimal targets. One minute they'll use your strengths to compliment and flatter you in the love bombing phase, but later they'll attack your weaknesses just to devalue you and erode your self-esteem. This keeps you in this phase of feeling like you need their validation for every decision you make, which is the narcissist's way of controlling your every thought and actions. Analyzing what makes you feel special. Narcissists pay attention to the things that make you feel special, appreciated, and loved. They will mirror your desires and interests and may even ask direct questions about what you value most in a partner. Narcissists gather this information to tailor their charm and manipulation. If they know what makes you feel loved, whether it's gifts, affection, compliments, validation, or the longing to have a provider in your life, they will use it to create a false sense of intimacy, which strengthens their hold over you. Later, they can withdraw these behaviors to punish or manipulate you emotionally. Once they have that control over your emotions, they can maintain a power dynamic in the relationship where they are dominant. Now you're constantly seeking their affection, approval, or whatever else they may be providing you. It becomes a painful, toxic game of giving just to take it away. Analyzing your social and support network. Narcissists will often inquire about your relationships with family and friends. They may ask about past conflicts you've had with them, and they will observe how strong your support system is. If you have a strong relationship with your parents, siblings, or family in general, they'll see this as competition. Some narcissists may not pursue you in this event. However, most covert narcissists will be up for the challenge. But if your relationship with your family is not so good, it's definitely a green light for the narc. By understanding who is important in your life and how close you are to others, narcissists need to know just how to work to isolate you over time. They'll subtly plant doubts about your relationships, causing friction between you and those who care about you. This process of isolation is used to make you more dependent on the narcissist for emotional support and validation. By gathering information about your social connections and support system, they can work to isolate you from those who might recognize the toxicity of the relationship, possibly encouraging you to leave the narcissist. And they can't have you associating with them, even if they have to go behind your back to lie and triangulate you with your family members or friends. They'll do whatever it takes. Analyzing your desires and goals. Narcissists will ask about your long-term goals, dreams, and desires. They will pretend to share the same interests or encourage you to pursue them. Once they understand your aspirations, they can manipulate those desires to gain control. For example, they will offer to help you achieve a career goal, only to later use it as leverage to take what you have worked hard for, or hold it over your head of how they helped you, saying things like, "You couldn't have done this without me," or "If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have any of this." Alternatively, they might even sabotage your progress just to keep you dependent on them. Analyzing and testing your boundaries. Narcissists analyze how you respond to small boundary violations early in the relationship. They may push for more intimacy than you're comfortable with, ask for unreasonable favors, or flirt with others right in front of you, just to see how far they can go. They're testing the waters to see how much they can get away with. If you don't assert strong boundaries, they will continue to push further, disrespecting you or controlling every aspect of your life. They'll also do things like deliberately pushing your buttons to start arguments, just to see how you'll respond. Afterward, they'll use the tactic of guilt tripping and blame shifting to see how you'll respond to that trick as well. The information they gather from these tests definitely helps them manipulate you more effectively. Analyzing what your emotional needs are. Narcissists ask deep emotional questions to understand what makes you feel emotionally fulfilled or secure in a relationship. Once they know what you need emotionally, they'll provide it, temporarily. They will use this knowledge to create an illusion of emotional closeness, which makes you more likely to trust them and overlook their flaws and toxic traits. Later, they can withhold emotional support as a form of manipulation, knowing exactly how to hurt you. Analyzing your past relationships. Narcissists will often inquire about your past relationships, asking detailed questions about what went wrong, how you were treated, and what your ex-partners were like. If they can get close to your family or friends, they'll probe them for information too. The more information they can get, the better. This analysis allows them to identify patterns in your previous relationships, which they can use to manipulate you. For example, if they learn that you stayed in a past toxic relationship after being cheated on several times or because of guilt or fear, they will use similar tactics to keep you attached to them. Understanding how your past relationships ended helps them avoid making the same mistakes in the relationship until they have secured control over you. The last thing they want to do is to run off good supply. So they fake it until they make it. Once they feel like they have control, the mask now comes off. Now that the narcissist has carefully analyzed and learned your behavioral patterns, your reactions to conflict, and what emotional triggers they can exploit. They can now tailor their manipulation tactics to suit your specific personality and emotional vulnerabilities. Once they have sucked you into what appears to be the perfect relationship, they'll use all of the information they've gathered to start the process of switching between love bombing, devaluation, gaslighting, or guilt tripping, depending on what they feel will work best to control and destabilize you emotionally. The understanding of how you react to certain situations allows the narcissist to manipulate you in ways that best serves their needs. By knowing your vulnerabilities, they have created a tailored strategy to make you an emotional wreck when things don't go their way, and to keep you emotionally attached and dependent on them when they have isolated or triangulated you. The more aware you are of these tactics, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself from their manipulation. If you notice any of these behaviors in your partner, it's essential to take a step back and evaluate whether the relationship is truly healthy. If you found this video to be informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below sharing your experiences. Let's continue the conversation and create healthier connections together.